This is the story of why the frog jumps. Our tale takes place a long, long time ago in the land of Corntopia. Corntopia was a beautiful little island with hundreds of green trees bearing most delectable fruit on the planet. With soothing beaches, lots of exotic wildlife, fields full of beautiful flowers, and quaint little shops. But instead of all these features, Corntopia is known for their residents' extreme passion for running. Two of these racers are known as Audie the dog and Bob the cat. These two and their friend Camo Frog often spend lots of time together talking about life. But Camo Frog was quite different from his friends. He was commonly known as an outsider among the islanders, because instead of running, he preferred reading the newspaper, watching the TV, and walking. But this didn't stop the three from hanging out. Audie and Bob had a problem. While they were kind to each other most of the time, they tended to argue about their running skills and life decisions. See, Bob had a very laid-back lifestyle. His favorite food was fish, and Bob tended to overeat at times. He never exercised, yet somehow he was one of the fastest in all of Corntopia. Audie, on the other hand, strives to be the healthiest dog around. She was obsessed with her exercise routines and only ate the tasty yet nutritional native fruit. Every night, the three buddies went to the Corntopia Diner. This place was the social hotspot of the town. It had a nice retro aesthetic. It was very noisy, with sounds of arcade and pinball machines, nightly band performances, lots of foot traffic, and loud music. As usual, Audie ordered a fruit basket, Bob ordered some fish, and Camo Frog ordered some tasty ants. And of course, Audie had something to say about Bob's choice of food. "Why do you continue to order yucky mackerel when I've told you about the harm they can do to your body?" exclaimed Audie. "'Cause I enjoy eating them. And what I eat is none of your business," replied Bob. Camo Frog became flustered when his friends fought, and often ended with him losing his temper. "Would you guys cut it out?" yelled Camo Frog. But his cries of fury seldom influenced his pals' quarrels. Sometimes he just wanted to leave and never come back. He loved his friends, but he loathed them when they fought. The next evening, on the way to dinner, the three stumbled across their neighbor's front lawn. The owner of the house, Apple, kept the yard nice and tidy. The grass was well trodden, likely from long sessions of training for races. There was one object displayed in the middle for everyone to see. It read, "Race tomorrow. Winner may have one wish granted." Both Audie and Bob were remarkably excited about the race on the following day, not only for the rush of competition, but also for the hopes of having their wishes granted by the island representative, Pashmina. However, Camo Frog was not excited, for he knew his friends would argue about their talents, and he would be left out. At that moment, the neighbor Apple spotted the three from her window. She looked at the frog with narrowed eyes and said, "Why, look who it is! Camo Frog, isn't it? Why do you live here? This is an island for runners, not those who sit inside all day. Please get off my lawn." This incredibly rude comment really hurt Camo Frog's feelings. Yet his friends did nothing to comfort him, for they were too busy talking about what they would wish for. When they arrived at the diner, Camo Frog slouched in his seat and he did not speak. Today, the atmosphere didn't feel so loud and friendly. He ordered his favorite dish of flies yet again, but it did nothing to aid his mood. And then Audie and Bob began arguing again. "I bet I'll win the race because I'm in far better shape than you," said Audie. As soon as the first word was spoken, Camo Frog stumbled out of his seat and stormed out in a fit of anger. His friends, without realizing his absence, continued to argue for the rest of the night. He left the diner on his own. It was beginning to get very dark, and Camo Frog felt like the entire island was against him. The trees seemed to be reaching out, and the beetles seemed to be calling his name. In his greatest moment of despair, Camel Frog formed an idea. He would win the race tomorrow, and then he would be appreciated and loved by everyone. He immediately walked to sign up. On his way back home, he thought about his impulsivity. I do not run. How will I beat Bob and Audie in a foot race? Thought Camel Frog. I will just have to try my hardest. The next day, every occupant on the island was ready to run. Even Camel Frog, the one who had never sprinted a day in his life, was standing on the starting line. He saw Apple, the mean neighbor, 2 rows down. Why are you here? Don't you know that you won't win? When I win the race, I will wish for you to move away, laughed Apple. Camel Frog did not let these words get to him, for he was determined to win the race. Both of his friends were beside him. The island representative, counted down to 1. It all happened so quickly. The first thing he remembered was an argument between Bob and Audie. Camel Frog was so provoked by the banter that he had a crazy adrenaline rush and beat the second fastest time by 3 seconds. At first, he was overjoyed, for he had accomplished his goals. But then Apple spoke up and said, "Ha, did you see him? He was crying while running." All of the others joined in and teased and bullied him. Camel Frog was the angriest he had ever been in his entire life. His friends did not stick up for him, so he acted on impulse. Turned to Pashmina and wished to leave the island and never return. "Your wish is granted," replied Pashmina. Yet nothing happened. Camel Frog was incredibly mad. He could not get it out of his system. He began to stomp his feet. And then the stomping changed to jumping. He jumped and jumped and jumped until he began to shrink in size. His short and stubby legs grew to be long and strong. He began to use his arms to divulge his anger. Each jump was higher than the last. All of the islanders watched in horror as he jumped his final jump, far into the clouds, never to be seen again. From then on, all frogs have resembled Camel Frog's new form, because they all need a way to let out their anger. As for Bob the cat and Audie the dog, they never were kind to one another again, for each blamed the other for Camel Frog's departure, even though, in truth, both of them were awful friends.